Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, November 9th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, what do we have going on in the markets this morning? Well, we have a trend up on the daily. How do we define a trend up on the daily? We made higher highs and higher lows yesterday than the previous day, and we hit the value area, completely higher than the previous day. So that is bullish. It is sign that we have momentum to the upside, but the overnight just rotated around inside yesterday's range here, creating a bell-shaped curve. So essentially the way I'm thinking about today, we're opening inside the previous day's range, and we had that bell-shaped curve from the overnight. So the first order of business is a counter auction to the overnight inventory that is a push higher, and then basically chop, right? We're looking for just lots of grinding. We've spent a lot of time and brought in a lot of volume in this area. Let me just zoom in here. You can see yesterday, oh boy, sorry, I switched my setup today, so everything's a little bit different, a little bit wonky. So you can see tons of time, tons of volume was brought in here yesterday and in the overnight. So I do suspect that this is going to work as resistance, right? That we're going to have to grind and grind and grind to fight our way back through there if we want to get continuation higher. But because of the trend, that tells me that that is the most likely thing to happen, that they're going to try to push through there. So that's a vote for chop right there. And the only other alternative is a break of the momentum higher, right? A break of the daily trend. And that would be by getting the market below yesterday's low. So that would be bearish. As long as the market is inside yesterday's range, I am just looking for chop. If we can get above the overnight high, I'm looking for continuation higher. And if we break yesterday's low, I'm looking for continuation lower. But anywhere in the middle, just a grindy kind of day sideways. Let's find out what you guys think in the survey. The results are 60% of you are looking for the market to go sideways. 24% of you are looking for it to go down, and 15% for it to go up. Uh-oh. That screams rotational day. That screams balance. So let's see what happens here. It is bearish to have pushed below the overnight low and then found resistance. That increases the odds. The market may need to test yesterday's low. But we're still inside yesterday's range, so chop is in order. All right, looks like we're finding a bit of support here with this taper. So now we're looking to test the resistance at the overnight low once again, 38.07. It is also the halfback. So in a chop zone, when the market is chopping like this, if it pushes back up to the halfback and it finds resistance there, it's likely it needs to test lower. The high is also weak. So again, further confirming the probability of chop. As far as the big news everyone was waiting for in terms of the election, so far it's kind of not that exciting. There certainly was no big red wave. But we're still waiting on a lot of different results here. So the Republicans lost 2 seats for governor seats, but gained 2 on the House and lost 1 on the Senate. So the voting is as split as the chat. Everyone's waiting for more information. All right, so now we're testing halfback. Does it act as resistance? Fighter Pilot asks, have you hit the like button today? It's an excellent question for the people at home. Okay, so we did get resistance at the halfback, and we're back down to testing the lows. So that is a little bit bearish to see. Invictus, it's in 15-minute increments. He's asking about the ticks. I keep all my internals in 15-minute increments. The 15-minute candles on the SPX and the NDX specifically for that 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles. And then I just use the 15-minute candles on the ticks, the breadth, and the advancers versus decliners, basically just out of habit. Because when I used to trade with candlesticks, I used 15 minutes. A lot of people like to use for the ticks 1 minute or 5 minute, but I like the 15. Okay, so once again, we're looking to test the resistance here at the halfback. Well, we're testing it right now. Can it hold? Or do we have more chop in our future? We do not have good taper on the low. So weak high increases the odds the market needs to push up here and do some more two-sided trade up here. And bad taper on the low increases the odds we need to push down here and do some more two-sided trade down here. So you know what that means. Chop zone, baby, for chopping. We're gonna chop zone, chop it on up. Chill with Dylan. Don't get me wrong. I love your singing, but can you rap? Mix it up a bit. Yes, no, I cannot rap. I mean, I can totally rap. Like, really, really good. But I just sound like Weird Al Yankovic when I do it. I sound like I'm trying to make fun of rapping when I'm not. I think it's cool, and I just wish I could do it. All right, well, that resistance is not holding. So I reckon we got some more chop. Beatbox. Yo, the market chops up, but the market chops down. My apologies. Hans says, why do you trade this type of chart and why do you never take a trade? Yeah, I would not be a very good trader if I never took any trades. Yeah, I don't trade on this chart because I don't want you guys to see my trades. I used to do that back in the day, and it had a negative psychological effect on me. It just put a lot more pressure. So I prefer to keep my trading secret. That way I'm the only one that, is right or wrong, and it keeps the emotions in check. Why do I trade with this chart? Why do I look at the market profile? Well, in my opinion, what the market profile does better than anything else is it lets you look at what's happening within the two-way auction process in sort of 3 dimensions. So whereas all a candlestick can tell you is where the price, opened and closed in whatever time period that candle represents, it doesn't show you what happened within that range. What levels specifically did the market spend the most time? Where did it bring in the most volume? And so that's what market profile lets you do. It lets you see that if you saw for example, 30-minute candlestick, it would literally just be a candlestick like this that would have a big wick down, and that's it. That's the only information you'd have, is a big wick down, and it'd be starting to build a body just right now as we're passing back through the open. Well, what does that tell you? How do you trade that? Who knows? But we knew, because we had the week high, which we saw from the market profile, from the volume profile, and then we saw that we did not get resistance at the halfback, we knew that we were going to chop and push back up into here, right? So that may have stopped us from trying to short here, looking for continuation lower, or it may have gotten us into a long trade for the chop, or it could have had us put a sell order when we saw that right up here at the high, looking for it to fill and then head back down and chop back down, right? There's a bunch of different ways to trade the information that you get, but the idea is it just gives you a clue as to what's happening. Or if you're like me, you could say when the market's in a chop zone, I just don't trade. I just wait till I get a clear decision where the market wants to go one way or another, and then I enter. The market generated information is at your disposal to use how you wish. Scott says, is it sort of like an art auction? Yes, sir. Ed, cannabis sector enjoying some upside today due to Maryland becoming the 20th state to legalize cannabis for adults. Always wondered why people buy the news like that. Never quite made sense to me. And the chop continues. So every time we get back to the halfback, we play the same game when we're chopping, right? Can it become support now? If not, we're going to keep chopping back down. If so, we're going to head back up. And we just keep passing up and down through the halfback until eventually it holds one way or another. Morty, Senate filibuster hurdle? Yeah, but you saw what's happening with the Senate. $47 to $46. All right, no support at the halfback. Increases the odds of more chop. Chop it up. Yo, chop it up, yo. When I was a kid, I used to chop it up. Oh, thank you for the 104 likes. Appreciate you. Unfortunately, you know what banner is to come. It is a chop zone till it's done. Will it break high or will it break low? At this point, we do not know. The first clue the halfback will give is its support or resistances. Rocket says, I feel sad for the 80 members who come here for the first hour and don't come later. $10 is nothing for what Charles is showing. Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I agree. What are the 80 of you? What are you thinking? Just join the brigade. Record Speed says you should just stream for the first 30 minutes, and Design Knob says no, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, then cut them off. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you. All right, well, we just got resistance at the halfback, and the internals are looking a little bit bearish. Not like super bearish, but a little bit. The ticks are getting smacked down at the zero line. On the Nasdaq, they haven't even been able to get back to the zero line yet. So that's just, again, it's a chop zone, but that's just a little bit bearish to see. And then both the advancers versus decliners and the breadth are below the zero line as well. So that's a little bit bearish to see. So we're starting to stack up some bearishness here. The next thing to see is, can the market push its way below yesterday's low? If it pushes its way below yesterday's low, that is bearish because it is a sign that the momentum to the upside is over. Right? This momentum that we're experiencing on the daily, if they get a new low on the daily, it would mean that that momentum is over, which would increase the odds that we need to balance off the excess created by this momentum, which we can do either by going sideways or by pulling back with price. So we're still in a chop zone, looking to see, can we test yesterday's low? But if it breaks, it starts to get bearish there. And obviously resistance at yesterday's low would look for continuation to the downside. So they could just poke below and then come right back up. But if they poke below and they get resistance there, that is bearish for continuation. It's a chop zone that's just starting to get a little bearish. Design knob. Maybe BTC will break 10K today on its way to zero. Not likely. I'll give you 14. It's in play. I don't think 10 is in play, though. Scoop all, but 10 has to be taken before zero. Hey, man. Yesterday I bought Bitcoin and Coinbase stock. So you guys know where I stand. Che, how do you sign up for the live stream after 10:30? If you just look in the description below the YouTube video, you'll see a thing there that says join the brigade, and it has a link. You just click on that. It costs $10 and you're in. Once you sign up, you get access to a page on the website that has a link. You'll also, if you were to sign up today, starting tomorrow, you'll get an email with a link every day. All right, well, so much for the bearishness. They should have found resistance at the halfback if it was bearish. So the chop continues. Indecision central over here. All right, so now we're back to playing the chop zone game. Can they turn the halfback into support now for continuation higher? Well, there you go. Oh, how the tables have turned. That's what makes chop zones such a bitch. So now we've got internals that are starting to trend higher, okay, which is bullish, not bearish. We've now passed back through the opening price again, which means we're looking for price discovery higher, okay? And most important of all, we held the low, right? That's an important insight right there, that they came so close to breaking yesterday's low, but they held it. So as of now, That momentum from the daily is still in the market as we continue to chop. So we got resistance above, lots and lots of resistance above. The question is, can they turn that half back into support? It has not been tested yet. So we're still chopping. But if they can turn it into support, it may mean they want to take the market higher. To support or not support? That is the halfback's question. Peter or Petrus, out of interest, what hours do you stream for the private group? All day until the market close at 4 p.m. Like a real schmuck. I give it to you all day, every day for just $10. Okay, so we're getting some short covering up here. That's a little bit bullish to see. The only thing is short covering actually weakens a market because it takes buyers out of the market. So we still have not tested good support yet. I still see this as a chop zone. They have not quite picked a direction. Kremlin. Russia-U.S. relations are bad and will remain bad. Midterms won't change this. Yeah, they're bad. All right. Well, here we go. We're finally getting a chance to test some support now to see, are the buyers actually taking charge of the market, or did we just squeeze a bunch of shorts and get a bunch of short covering up to here? So what we're going to look for is support here above 3809. And we will see that when the ticks are able to pop back above the zero line. At that point, it is bullish that we are trying. It's still a chop zone, right? We're still inside the previous day's range, but that we are at least trying to grind higher. So we are looking for support here. All right, well, those ticks pumping back up have me feeling a little bit bullish here. I'm going to change the banner to bullish, but I need to do so with some caution. Okay? As long as we remain inside the previous day's range, there is a chance anywhere in here the market can find resistance and then crash and burn back down. Okay? Literally any of these levels of resistance could hold the market down. And we know with all this trading that happened in the overnight, it is going to be very, very difficult to get through this resistance, right? We're going to have to grind and fight our way through this. But as long as we stay inside the overnight range, that is the direction I believe we are going. So I remain bullish as long as we are above the overnight low. It may be a very choppy, painful trip to get up there, though. So only buy support. Do not FOMO in at highs. Wait for pullbacks and buy support. Don't fall in love with the trade. Take profits in resistance. Thomas Shelby, total losses in crypto space equivalent to 2 trillion. That can't be right. That would have been the whole crypto space. Total market cap. Yeah, so you went from 900 billion to now 860 billion. Still a lot of money, but ain't nothing compared to Apple. One of my favorite stats about Bitcoin, only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins, but there's more than 21 million millionaires on planet Earth. If every single millionaire wants one, they can't have one. Suffice to say, the market cap right now is very, very small. Designed up. Oh, Pappy has more crypto. He's heavily leveraged in Doge. Leveraged in Doge. That's an interesting concept. Okay, the bulls need to hold the zero line here. Need to pump those ticks. Michael, so far, almost the only reason to buy Bitcoin is because you think some fool will buy it at an even higher price. Where are all the end users? It's a great question. As always, I will explain it as I explain any new technology being adopted by the public. When they came out with automobiles, most people were convinced that horses were superior. They laughed at people who wanted to invest in automobile industry early on. Fools, they said. You should buy horses. Breed them. That's the future. They said the same thing about every new technology, as a matter of fact. They said it about radio and television. They said it about the telephone. They definitely said it about the internet. They laughed at fools who considered investing in companies like Amazon. How silly you must be to invest in a change in behavior in the future. How on earth could you think in 2005 that in 2020 people might want to buy everything online? Well, someone thought of it. Someone bought that Amazon stock. They took that risk that they could be wrong, that the adoption of online purchasing would not continue to grow. But because they were right, they benefited from it. Bitcoin's the exact same thing. It's an adoption curve. You're right. Nobody uses it now. But if you believe they will use it 10 years from now, or 20 or 30 or 40, why not start investing in it now rather than waiting until it's too late? Food for thought, but always as a long-term investment. I actually see everything that just happened with that exchange that just went down as a good thing. You got to shake out all the weak hands. Slowly but surely, you know, the only brokerages that will be left to do business in the crypto space will be good, honest, reliable people who have been war tested and proven that they can be trusted. And so then the business grows and grows and grows. Thomas says China has created a digital yuan. Oh, yeah. Make no mistake, the digital dollar is coming. But it won't compete with Bitcoin. All right. Well, the tick's breaking back below the zero line is a little bit less bullish, right? That's more what we would expect during chop. So we got to test this support now and see if it can hold. But we really want to see them pump those ticks back above the zero line. Andrew, thoughts on the Q? Exactly the same as the ES. You got a trend on the daily. You got a rotational overnight, almost identical to the ES actually. So yeah, same thing. It's bullish if they can hold the half back here and the overnight low where they're testing right now. So if this acts as support, they can keep grinding their way higher. If it breaks as it's breaking as I speak, then it's chop. It's just more grind up and down. And if they break below yesterday's low, then things get bearish on the Q. But I would call that chop. All right, and last chance for the ES here. The tick's telling us that we lost our buyers. But I'll give them one last chance at the halfback. Can they hold it? Nope. More chop. So you already know what I'm going to say. You were expecting it before the words even came out of my mouth. The question becomes, does support now become resistance? Do we need to head down and test the A period low? If they can turn half back into resistance now, that's where they'll go. The mistake I made there, getting bullish, was I FOMO'd in. I didn't wait for the pullback to test the halfback. I got excited too early. That's the bitch about a chop zone. It'll just chop you up. So you have to be disciplined and wait for confirmation. All right, well, unfortunately, printing the C period right here at the fairest price, right at the halfback. I don't have a lot of insights to give you moving forward here today. Like I said, as long as we stay inside of yesterday's range, I would expect it to be very grindy and very choppy. If we can get the C period to break the B period high, then you can look for that chop to be towards the upside. You can look for it to keep trying to grind its way through this overnight range. And if they break the C period below the A period low, you can look for a potential breakout to the downside. As once again, getting below yesterday's low would be bearish as a break of the trend on the daily. So you could bring in new sellers down there. So pretty much waiting for the break of the initial bounce, B period high or A period low, and expecting chop in the middle. Thank you very much, and we'll see you here tomorrow morning.